after the great war that culminates on Yom Kippur with the confirmation of the covenant, then the Feast of Tabernacles will bring forth the tabernacle of David from the stone chamber where it currently is, and it will be rebuilt on the Temple Mount. There, the 70 nations will be invited, just as we were told by Moses that during the Feast of Tabernacles, we sacrifice 70 bulls, which are the provision for the nations. And just as Amos said, and James backed him up, that the Gentiles, the nations, the heathen would come to Israel and they would be part of this rebuilding of the tabernacle of David. They would see this very thing. Now, the Ark of the Covenant really needs to stay where it is, because that tells the whole story. The whole testimony which is in the earth, the spirit, the water, and the blood, that which happened so that Israel will understand, so that they will look on him of whom they have pierced, and they will weep and mourn for him, and they will long for him, just as David and the children of Israel long for the cloud of glory to be above the mercy seat again. They will long for him, they will want him to return, and they will long for him to rule the earth as he has promised, and as the prophets have promised. So on the Temple Mount, the 70 nations assemble, and then on Hoshana Rabbah, on the last great day, that is when the double portion of the Holy Spirit, of which Joel speaks, and Yeshua also speaks of this. They that thirst, let them come unto me and drink, and out of their belly will flow rivers of living water. It is on that day the double portion of the Holy Spirit is poured out, and that is the sealing of the 144,000 Israelites. Israelites. They are not 144,000 Jews. All Jews may be Israelites, but not all Israelites are Jews. And so the 144,000 of all the tribes of Israel that proclaim the name of Yeshua Messiah and are sealed for divine protection, then are sent out into the world, just like Yeshua sent out the 70, and he worked with them until Hanukkah. So we have those who are sealed for divine protection, a double portion of the Holy Spirit. But 42 months after this, there is a war in heaven. Satan, the devil, and his angels fight against Michael. And it says that Satan is cast out. He is, till then, is holding fast to his authority as the accuser before the throne, the accuser of the brethren. But when Michael and his angels then dispossess Satan of his authority, cast him down to the earth, woe to the earth, because Satan knows he has but a short time. But salvation and glory has come in heaven because the accuser of the brethren has been cast down. So now, these last 42 months, this is when the abomination of desolation takes place. When he, the man of sin, who is inhabited by Hasatan himself, who is cast down out of heaven, who comes down knowing he has but a short time, goes to make war with the saints. The abomination of desolation is when the man of sin will then go and sit upon the Ark of the Covenant. Now, it would make sense for the Ark of the Covenant to be removed from where it is currently in that cave, in that stone chamber, and then brought up onto the Temple Mount, into the tabernacle of David, because, as it says, don't let anyone deceive you by any means. That day will not come except first there come the rebellious stand, and the man of sin is revealed, the son of destruction, the son of the destroyer himself, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God, so that he as God sits in the naos, sits in the tabernacle of God, the tabernacle of David, declaring that he himself is Jehovah. And because there were those who did not want to receive the love of the truth, that Yeshua's blood was shed upon the Ark of the Covenant, that testimony that God gave of the Son, that is greater than the testimony of men, God will let them go home to their own delusion, their strong delusion, and they are going to believe the lie. They're going to believe the lie that that one, that son of destruction, who is sitting on the tabernacle of God, declaring himself that he is God, God is going to allow that strong delusion. How could he sit there otherwise if God did not allow it? Uzzah just reached out to steady the ark, an act of just trying to preserve the ark, and he was struck dead. So how can this son of Satan, how can he sit on the ark of the covenant declaring that he is God? Because God allows it. And God is going to send everyone a strong delusion that did not want to believe the truth. So that is 42 months, 3.5 years, a time, times and a half a time, 1,260 days after the confirmation of the covenant. And then, during this period of time, this is when all hell breaks loose on planet Earth. This is the 5th trumpet. Then the 6th trumpet. The 6th trumpet. And after the 6th trumpet, then the 7 thunders, of which John hears that which is spoken from the voice of that angel as he reads the scroll, and 7 thunders roar out, and he begins to write down what the angel says, and then Yeshua shouts at him, "Stop, don't do this. I know I told you to write everything that must come to pass in the future because I want my servants to know. This is something I don't want my servants to know. My grace is sufficient. I am able to keep them in the greatest troublesome time that has ever been from the beginning of time, never will be again. So I don't want you to write it. But what I can tell you to do, you take that little scroll and you eat that scroll. I'm going to tell you up front that that scroll from which the angel read with these 7 thunders that were uttered from his voice, that I'm not going to allow you to tell the people, my people, what is in it. I'm going to tell you that it's going to be sweet to the taste. It's going to be so good, but it's going to make you sick to your stomach. And so John did what he was told. He stopped writing, and then he took the scroll and he ate it. And it was sweet in his mouth. It was like honey. But then when he swallowed it, it made him nauseous. What is this communicating? He said, the moment that the 7th angel begins to sound his trumpet, the mystery of God will be executed. That is what is so sweet. You are almost home. Going through these 7 thunders is going to make you sick. I'm not even going to let you tell my servants what they're going to go through because my grace is sufficient for them. I am going to be with them through this time. I am going to keep them in the time of trouble, through everything they go through, whether they live or die, they're almost home. And then the very next incident that happens as the seventh and the last trumpet sounds. When the two witnesses are called up before the throne in heaven, they give their witness of the visible sighting of the first sliver of the new moon. And then the high priest of heaven, Yeshua himself, says, "Sound the trumpet." And the trumpet sound, and the dead in Messiah are raised, incorruptible. We which are alive and remain, the mortal will put on immortality, will be caught up together with them in the clouds and meet Yeshua in the air. This is the day when he is revealed from heaven with the angels of his might, in flaming fire taking vengeance, and he gathers us to the sea of fire and glass. As we're in the sea of fire and glass, 7 angels with the wrath of God in bowls of smoking wrath come out, and they pour them one after another over the edge of the sea of fire and glass down to the inhabitants of the earth. And one of the angels comes out and says, no one enters the Mishkan, the tabernacle in heaven, until the bowls of wrath are poured out. But as the curtain goes back, as they come out, John sees and looks, and there it is. The Ark of the Covenant is in heaven. It has been raptured with the saints. It has been caught up together with the saints. But no one can enter until the bowls of wrath are poured out. When the last bowl of wrath is poured out, on Yom Kippur again, after the 10 days of awe on the sea of fire and glass, that is when the voice from the throne room shouts out again, "It is finished." And then the innumerable multitude on the sea of fire and glass to wait to hear if their name is called, if their garments are white and spotless, if they have done what was required of them to be called by name into the marriage supper of the Lamb. And those who do so are called the bride of Messiah. At the end of that time, end of the Feast of Tabernacles, on their last great day, Yeshua returns to the earth with the armies of heaven. Yehovah Tsevaot, Yehovah of the commander of his armies, comes back to live and reign on the earth for 1,000 years as Satan is bound. And after those 1,000 years, the final resurrection, the final judgment. And those whose names are written in the book of life enter into New Jerusalem and the new heaven and earth. The curse is ended, and now the entire new city is the throne. During the millennial reign, the Ark of the Covenant is the throne of Yeshua, but all of Jerusalem is the throne room, and we are invited to go up and minister with him as priests and kings if we've taken the talents that we have in this life and we've done what he's asked us to do.